Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So this is going to be my Heroes Reborn episodes 1 and 2 video. Now there's 13 episodes total, and they did the first 2 episodes as part of this premiere, so I think this is just going to be going for 12 more weeks. The premise is actually pretty interesting, even though it takes a little while to get going, so I'll try to explain what some of the technical conspiracy theories that are going on through these different storylines. Eventually they'll all converge by the finale. Just like the original series, everything is connected through this Renatus conspiracy, but only a couple of the characters have started to figure out what's going on. So let's get going. Just careful for spoilers for the first 2 episodes if you haven't seen them yet. Here we go. Starting with top 10 moments. The world goes to shit. The premise of the opening act is that it picks up years after the original series left off. People with powers are now like an open thing. Like people know all about Evos. That's what they're calling them. But it's just, stand in for mutants, metahumans, whatever you want to call them. Primatech Paper, the evil corporation that HRG used to work for in the original series, seems a little more positive when things pick up. Renatus seems like the evil organization. So a big explosion goes off, causes a huge tragedy. They blame Mohinder from the original series, who's a big proponent for Evo rights. And it becomes this X-Men Days of Future Past situation, this darkest timeline where being an Evo becomes a really bad thing. They start getting hunted down by a shadow conspiracy, which I think is Renatus. Everything seems to be pointing towards this weird evil corporate giant, creating this mystery product that's powered by people with superpowers. So I'll talk about that later. That's going to be really important. Using superpowered people to create a product. On to number 9, Chuck Season 6, The Darkest Chuck. So Zachary Levi seems like he might be the Siler of this series. He actually has this really dark opening where he kills all those people in that church. However, later we find out that it was his son and wife that died during that Odessa tragedy, so he's kind of a sympathetic villain, especially when he runs into Peter Pan in the ice cream shop. Yes, it does seem like he's trying to hunt down and kill these people, but I think they left a back door for him to turn good when he starts to figure out that he's not getting credit for the things that he's doing. He reads the paper and learns that someone's trying to pin everything on Mohinder Suresh. I think that's also going to be someone connected to Renatus. So it just leaves the door open for Zachary Levi's character to work with the heroes to take down Renatus, because Renatus are probably the people that are secretly responsible for his wife and child's death, for that original tragedy. And that's the whole reason that he's hunting these Evos down, because he thinks that they're responsible. So when he finds out that it's actually an evil corporation, he'll probably stop trying to kill people. On to number 8, meet Peter Pan, teleporting ice cream fanatic. He played Peter Pan on Once Upon a Time, so I'm just going to call him Peter Pan for now, because that's probably what you're thinking when you're watching him. I'm thinking of him as taking the spot that Claire had in the original series. He's like the new cheerleader of the series, like the young character that young people that are watching the show get attached to. Anytime there's a show with a bunch of adults on it and they want kids to watch it too, they put a kid on the show. So he's the new high school kid, and his ability allows him to teleport things to wherever he thinks of. But I think what we'll find the twist is with that is that he has to have been to these places before. He has to have a memory of them. But once all the heroes come together, he's probably going to be their rapid transit system. I will say I totally like his character more than I like the cheerleader character, especially considering the role they serve in the narrative. The cast around him too at that high school is actually pretty cool too. Like the jock who is a dick because he gets abused at home. I love you so much, man. Thanks for getting rid of my stepdad. His new sidekick, also very lovable character. I love the fact that they use the ice cream shop. It actually reminds me of the pie store from Pushing Daisies. One of my favorite scenes too is when he sees Zachary Levi sitting at the table and just goes, walks right up to him, and Zachary Levi's like, "Oh my God, what's going on? I don't understand." He had just been talking about tracking down and killing that little boy. On to number 7, The Legend of El Venador. This is a really nice arc about this post-traumatic stress soldier who doesn't seem like he has superpowers. Like, we don't know that yet, but it seems like the brother was the one with superpowers and his son. I'm guessing this guy does not, which is what's going to make him more of a hero, in that he does not have superpowers, but he still tries to do superhero things. The priest's mist-based power is actually pretty cool too. You can see how the little kid's power is going to come in handy too, getting into and getting out of locked rooms. The way the writers designed everyone's powers is so that they're just really critical to the story of how they save the world. So think about what each person's power is and how they might be able to use that to take down Renatus. Speaking of problem solving, on to number 6, The Mystery of the Evernow game and the Sword. If you didn't recognize it, this is totally Hero's sword from the original series, so Hero's probably going to show up as part of this arc. He's one of the other original characters that came back for this series. And that Yagamoto company, also probably connected to Renatus. They probably developed some of the machinery behind whatever they're doing. Katana Girl's father seems like the person who wrote that comic book based on the game that's really instructions for how to save him. The weird thing is that her storyline gets into this cyberpunk territory where it's like How does the sword transport her into a game? Like, what's the difference between the world of the game and the real world? Is she transporting herself digitally? Like, is it a digital thing? Maybe that has something to do with her power. But just remember the idea of digital consciousness in cyberpunk. That was like a big thing in the 90s. If you ever read Tad Williams' Otherland, I kind of think some of that is going on in this Heroes Reborn storyline, whereby a bunch of people are trying to ascend to a higher reality using digital technology. On to number 5, welcome back Haitian. So this is kind of unfortunate that he dies so quickly, but it's fun to see him again, especially the HRG related humor. He has this very Coulson-like sense of humor where it's like, he's a very dark character, but you get some office, workplace-based comedy. Have I been here before? I don't know. Have you been here before? The weirdness, though, that they haven't explained yet is why did HRG ask the Haitian to erase his memory about the tragedy at Odessa? Maybe because Renatus wants information that's in HRG's brain, and if the Haitian were to erase it, then they wouldn't be able to get it. That'd be the only reason for a hero, like a good person, to want to erase their mind. I think he got his mind erased to protect everyone. Going a little bit deeper though, number 4, Primatech Paper, still very much active on level 5. If you go back to the original series, you remember, like, part of the mystery of Primatech Paper is that, like on the ground level, they're this paper company that does these weird evil abduction things, but gradually through the series, they let us down into deeper and deeper levels where, like, the further down you went, the bigger the conspiracy got, the crazier things were. So level 5 is just like the belly of the beast. And as we know, Renatus bought out Primatech Paper after the tragedy, so those people down in the basement that Zachary Levi killed, those are all Renatus people, trying to use Primatech's files to find all these powered people to use them to power their device. The device is called Epic. On to number 3, some of the creepy looking villains aren't actually villains. Cue creepy Trenchcoat Guy. So this character here typically plays pedophiles, like the worst people you could possibly imagine whenever he shows up in TV shows. So naturally, the twist is that he's trying to help Peter Pan save the world. For me, he is actually like the new HRG of this series. If you remember, in the original series, HRG was actually kind of a bad guy. Like, he started out as a villain that turned into one of the anti-heroes of the show. I mean, he's still kind of bad because he still tracks people down, beats the crap out of them. But now, HRG is more of a straight-up good guy. So you have like another mystery guy who seems like a villain who ends up being something of a friend. On to number 2, the mystery of Molly Walker, the fuel in this epic engine that Renatus is trying to build. So Molly Walker, redhead, trying to get away with some money, gets entrapped by the people at the casino who probably end up working for Renatus. Her storyline was kind of a reverse Peter Pan situation, whereby someone that seemed totally genuine ended up being super creepy, and creepy Trenchcoat Guy for Peter Pan ended up being a good guy. Now the really awesome thing here is that this big MacGuffin of the Epic machine is definitely the MacGuffin right now. It needs to launch in the next couple of days, which I am so happy about. It means we're not going to have to wait for forever for this. They can't do that until they plug Molly Walker into it, whatever that's going to end up looking like. It's probably going to be like some Total Recall situation where they plug her into a giant machine. And finally, onto my number 1 WTF moment, the epic machine that Renatus is building looks like it is either going to forcibly, physically evolve the human race, or it's going to digitally evolve them. Like, it's going to be a Matrix-like situation that ties in with the video game. We don't have quite enough information to form a complete hypothesis about what Renatus is trying to do, but I think the way the series is plotted out, we'll have enough clues after the next 1 or 2 episodes. There was also this one disconnected scene up near the North Pole, it looked like it was the North Pole, of the girl that looked like she was manipulating the Northern Lights in this black hole looking event in the sky. Now I think this is happening in the real world, so it seems like whatever Renatus is doing is like a physical astrological phenomenon. The weird thing in all this is that the guy who died that HRG was talking to said that they found a way to monetize Evos. So this could be some sort of like evil version of Google or Apple just trying to earn a lot of money. I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping it's something grander, like people trying to forcibly evolve the human race. You guys let me know in the comments, just based on the information we have right now, what do you think that Renatus's epic machine is going to do to the human race? Is it going to be something that's going to like put them into some sort of altered Matrix reality, or is it just going to like biologically evolve the human race and everyone will be an Evo? The only thing in these first 2 episodes that I think didn't work really well were the Japanese like video game sequences. Like, that character feels kind of at odds with the rest of the show. Like, the rest of the characters feel like normal people, but she almost feels like she's a digital character that's been pushed into reality, We just haven't had enough scenes with her to create that context. She feels more like a device to push the plot forward than an actual character. But that's actually another good question. Who's your guys' favorite character so far? I do like Peter Pan Teleporter just because he seems so earnest. Zachary Levi's kind of fun being an anti-hero, kind of antagonist right now. HRG, still totally awesome. He's like the glue that holds the show together right now. He's like the backbone of the plot. He's the one that ties everything together because he goes back to old school Primatech, and a lot of this story is being told from his perspective. So because I'm liking the show so far, I'm going to do videos for each of the episodes. I'll give it to at least like episode 4, like 2 more weeks. We can always reevaluate if the show starts to fall apart around like episode 5 or 6. It feels like this show is actually designed to be binged watched in like one 13-hour sitting as opposed to like a weekly show. So I think when it's all over, it'll actually be even better when you just watch it marathon style. It's just that some shows that do that save a lot of the big payoff for the last couple of episodes, and that doesn't work as well when you're airing things once a week. But there's actually quite a bit of TV coming back in the next week, so Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. starts next week. I'll be doing videos for that just like normal. I just posted a new trailer video. You can click here to watch that, and you can click here for my first episode from Gotham Season 2. That just started this week too. So thanks so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tomorrow.